everyone. Thanks for watching those ads. So we're just about ready to go with the matches. Maps have been chosen. Zeph is back, joining us for the ZvZ. Didn't really get to decide on how we're going to do this, but I'm thinking that, I don't know, unless, I'll just say it, like, me and you do at least the first 2 games, I guess, and then we'll...
Yeah, I think that works. I do actually have to be up for work in like 7 hours, so I'll do the first couple of maps and then hand it over. Sound legit?
Yeah, that's legit.
Sweet.
Yeah. So the first map's going to be Ascension to Aiur. Let's get Snute and Lambo in here. Ethermal and TLO still got $100 from playing yesterday and today. Not bad, but this is where I think the prize is 400 300. Okay. Hey, what's up?
Oh, sorry. I just didn't realize you were switching back to Skype, so I was just like chilling. I was like, well, they're talking to each other. I wonder if they realize I can't hear them. And then it was my problem.
Yeah. So even in Discord, so that would have been quite a trick.
Quite.
Yeah. But let's, we decided that me and her are going to do the first 2 games. So I'll just get you in here as backup.
Oh, so I should join the game again. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Please.
You need to practice joining games anyways.
You're not wrong.
Scrub.
All right, so I'm just going to chill out here and let you guys do your thing.
Sweet.
Cool. Gucci. All right, then. Yeah, just ask them if they're ready. It was a best of 7. So potentially a lot of games. Saw Snute take out TLO 3-1. So he's already all warmed up in this matchup. Whereas Lambo, well, I think he played a ZvZ yesterday, so it's like obviously not. He's not gonna be like, what the hell's happening? But I don't know who actually takes it. I see Snute versus a lot of Zergs, but Lambo's not really one of those.
Yeah, I honestly have not seen Lambo play in a long time, just purely out of time zones. I see a little more from Snute because I tend to watch his VODs, so I do sort of give him a bit of an edge. He looks pretty convincing in general, and definitely looks good against TLO. So we'll see how we go as we hop into Ascension to Aiur for our first map.
Yes, indeed. And in the top left, as the red Zerg, he is Liquid Snute.
And in the bottom right, in the blue, this is Lambo.
He's also got the power of Xanster on his side with that clan decal, decal, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, what do Australians say, decal or decal?
I say decal, but I'm not sure what other people say. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that out loud before.
Oh, really?
To be honest, yeah.
Okay. Well,
if I did, it would have been on a cast, and I primarily cast with Americans or Maynard, so I don't know.
I've only ever heard decal from Rifkin, so I'm not sure. I think I actually asked some of the other Canadians. There's actually a lot of Canadians in Korea, right? With like Jake and Sasha and stuff, but... I think when I asked them, just like looked at me and they were like decal, so I was like, oh, okay, Rifkin's just crazy. Anyways, that aside, thank you to the subs that we've been getting. Nilsonar for the 12-month resub, just hit it, so that is a part 2 for you. And Smurfs or Us 8s resub for 7 months, and I think they got Higgins for 26 and Don Fishy for the new sub, but I'm not sure, so just be safe. Thank you all very much for your continued support. And now we can really get into the nitty-grittiness of the ZvZ. Not that much has actually happened yet.
No, not really. Both players have opted for the expand. They are getting gas, so being Ascension to Aiur, it's not the best map to go for 3 hatch straight away. So there's a difference we do have is that Snute has grabbed the gas a little earlier and then gone back to mining with just 2 drones on there. Whereas Lambo is gonna have the speed just a tad later. It shouldn't be a big issue. He'll just have to be a little more defensive.
Yeah, it's about 20 seconds, but I feel like that's not... Yeah, it shouldn't be a big issue. Mostly the Ling fights really happen around the 3rd being put down, which is still a ways off. But if it's not, though, like if Snute's going to be aggressive here, he throws down a fairly early Bailey Nest and is getting a lot of Lings, and this actually is an opportunity for 20 seconds to mean a lot. It doesn't happen very often. I'd be finally excited to see it because I keep mentioning it, but I don't know, I'm kind of feeling it. He's kind of hiding the lings too.
Oh, very cheeky. Okay. Well, he can definitely do some damage here. First of all, Lambo's taken a quick third, so he could cancel that. Otherwise, he can go for the drone line and the natural. And if the queens aren't in the right position, he can definitely do some extra damage there. Because when you've got the slowlings, obviously you can't chase. You can't be out on the map that much. So you really do have to use your queens as a bit of SimCity to help you out there. It looks like he's having a bit of a poke here, almost trying to buy time, but with the queens there, he's actually not able to do anything, and one queen gets caught out in the middle of nowhere already. Yeah. I mean, that's it. GG.
Yeah. It's not the weirdest tap out, but still a little weird. Just like, he had 15, 16 rather lings on the way, but I think he just realized that it was going to snowball way too much. So that's not wrong. It is best of 7 too, so kind of like just get that one bad game out of the way, I suppose. Kind of similar to what happened with Snute versus TLO, right? TLO just kind of got bopped in the first game and was like, oh, okay, let's just forget about that one.
Basically, yeah. I think that queen that got caught out in the open too might have been his one of 2 queens, I guess. So he couldn't block the ramp or anything if he wanted to. So, yeah. Move on. Next match.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be Proxima Station coming up next. So this is it's like actually kind of playing out similar to that Snute TLO series. I don't think Ascension was first, but it was some other open map where the quick first game into the super, super long second game on Proxima. It's all happened before and it'll happen again.
Yeah, give me a beefy game on Proxima.
Yeah,
be my last map.
You don't lag out as well.
Yeah, oh my god, please no. I'll be very upset. But on the plus side, the stream won't have to listen to my croaky voice much longer. I do apologize, guys. I've been sick for like almost a month at this point. Quite sick for 2, so that's why I sound like this.
Jeez.
But
it's a long time. Well, thank you for coming to cast.
No, it's good. I gotta get my StarCraft fix where I can. So it's rare between WCS seasons, unfortunately.
Yeah, sure. Well, as you said, it's going to be your last cast, regardless if it's a super long game or not. You have work. You're a professional. I don't know, an adult or something. But Rapid Casting is ready to go to cast the rest of the game. So we'll see how long actually this cast ends up being with a best of 7. But in the top right, he is already up 1-0. It is the Blue Zerg Snute.
And in the bottom left, in the red, he is known as Lambo.
Diggity. Had quite an entertaining series in his EVT. I was actually quite impressed by some of those games. Some of those games, it was like, okay, I guess I got this round on the Reapers, or okay, I guess Reapers are good. But then there's like 2 of those games where it was more just like, wow, these guys are both pretty good, and Lambo just weathered a really tough storm. But ZvZ is a very different beast. In fact, Snute, once he heard that it was ZvZ, just kind of made a frowny face. Like, despite winning one already, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he actually sometimes sort of sells himself short in ZvZ. Like, if you talk to him at a LAN, like a WCS thing or something, he'll always be like, oh, that guy's really good at ZvZ, I don't think I can beat him. And then he like 3-0s him or something. Maybe it's just like it's not an enjoyable matchup to play or anything, but he's certainly amazing at it. Like, his win rate is like 60-something% in ZvZ, so he really has nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's kind of the way the Snute is, though. Pretty open about, his pessimism, I guess, about his play.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it'll be, all fun and games and whatever, and then sometimes it's like, no, I just really don't think I'm that good, and you're like, well, okay, but you are, so that's tough to convince you. But I think it's also not just like Snute's mentality and him as a person, but it's also just like Europe is the land of good Zergs. So
that's true.
Yeah, like his win rate being over like 60% is impressive because they're all good Zergs. But then when I guess you look at other good Zergs and they also have like win percentages over like 70% or something insane like that, you're like, well, maybe I'm not that good because the competition is just really that fierce.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I always forget just how many amazing Zergs Europe has sometimes. So it's easy to judge yourself harshly against some of these players, I suppose. But in this game, it looks like we do have that sort of more tame 3-base opening from both of these guys. So a bit of a gentleman's agreement for the now, I suppose, just some drones and queens before we see one of the players drop those gases. And it looks like Lambo is going to take the lead in that regard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we saw TLO and Snute have a similar opener, and then TLO threw that curveball in with the fast Spire, fake roaches. It was pretty cool. I don't imagine any of these guys would do that, so it should just be roaches versus roaches. Snute has showed, like, it's specifically what he showed to be pretty good, though, versus TLO, is his positioning and just, he was just very good about minding the flow of ZvZ, keeping calm, collected, keeping his macro up, and taking good fights. And that's probably where this is going to lead to, unless someone starts speed with his first under gas or a lair. I mean, I guess it starts a lair, you can still go on the roaches, but speed, I guess, is more like, that could change things up.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, both still droning fairly heavily at the moment, but we do have that Evo chamber coming out from Lambo. I assume for the +1 missile attack. And he will go into roaches, whereas Snute has taken the earlier lair instead. And last time we saw him do this, get that roach speed up quicker, he was able to control the game pretty well from that point onwards. So I suppose we'll see if we get a similar thing out of him this time around.
Yeah. So, okay, I was going to say, we have Carapace, not +1 missile attack, and I was already suspicious, and then he did start speed. Alrighty.
Yep, you are indeed correct. Okay, so going to switch it up a little bit. I suppose that's the beauty of getting the Evo chamber. You have the option of going either way, which is good because we get to see something a little different. It's not going to be, the mirror builds all the way into mid to late game. I'm just kind of curious to see if Snoot's actually going to be able to hold on to this 4th base. I mean, Lambo doesn't really have the ability to move out just yet, but he's almost there.
Yeah, So it's like, it's also going to see 1/1 Lings as a change-up, and then I imagine it's going to be a Spire with this lair finishing up too, but is it all too late? Like, Snute is getting a 4th base, but he's also, like, already hit a good drone count, so he's, like, kind of done macroing. He can just go pure into army, and if he kind of sees, like, something is off, if he actually gets a scout somewhere and is like, well, maybe I should just push forward, he would be pushing forward before, like, +1 melee, and before there's, like, a mass number of Lings. But if he's not, and so far he's, like, not really scouting anything, then he might just mistakenly think that Lambo's doing the exact same thing, and thus there is no reason to push. Okay, it's not a Spire, it's a Hydralisk Den. Well, that's absolutely not what I was expecting.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to pick the Hydra Den either. So he is actually trying to flood some Lings over to this gold base and deny Snute from taking that. But he does have more than enough roaches to defend that for now. And he's going to head across the map trying to take out maybe an Overlord or 2 on the way if he can with those Ravages. And Lambo's got to come up with some sort of strategy for defense. He's got 6 Hydras on the way. They will help, but they're paper units with not a lot of buffer, especially when the Lings aren't home. They're going to backstab instead, and they will do some good damage here at the gold base.
Oh, yeah.
But at the front, will he be able to hold him off?
I am hesitant to say that he can. Snoot like doubling the army supply right now, and Lambo is definitely hoping to buy some more time to get to Lurkers, which absolutely would have shredded, especially in this choke. But as you said, the Hydras themselves is going on pretty quickly. Also, before, Lambo has +1 melee, so these Lings really aren't as impressive as they could be getting surrounds like that.
Yeah, he's chewing through a lot of Lambo's defenses here. The Lings in the background did get cleaned up at that gold base as well, and that is actually it. Snute takes it and goes up 2-0.
Okay, so 2 pretty quick and easy games. I'm hoping Lambo has some other tricks up his sleeve, because so far it seems like Snute has got his number. And
yeah, he's got to have some juice left in him. I hope, anyway. So, cool. I'll leave you guys in the very capable hands of Rapid. Thanks for having me. Thank you guys for watching as well. I'll catch you next time. And thank you for putting up with my terrible voice for tonight. I hope you get a full best of 7 here for the finals, because it's a pretty short night, to be honest. But I think you guys are doing Corsair Cup later.
Yeah, it's
so,
a double day.
Yeah, lots of StarCraft to come. Cool. Leave it to it.
All right. Thanks.
See you later, guys.
Thanks, Zeph. That was a pleasure. That'll send us into Abyssal Reef, but first, as we get rapid casting back, we're actually going to be taking a quick break. So see you guys in 2 minutes. Alrighty. You know, I could probably... oh, no, I'm actually not gonna... I'm too lazy. I was like, it's just me and you now. I could probably fix the Skype cams and shit like that.
Oh, yeah,
but...
the overlays and everything. No.
Nah.
Too much work.
Nah, that's just not gonna happen anytime soon. I'm gonna stop cropping it, though, so you can see a little bit more of me there. It's a little bit prettier. Alright, we're ready to go into game number 3 between these two Zerg players. It's gonna be on Abyssal Reef. And now I am obviously joined by Rapid Casting for the rest of this ZvZ.
That's me. Yeah, so I feel like these guys just didn't either like didn't want Zeph to cast very much, or just like, hey, we should just play the fast games in the first 2 games of our series, and especially after the first games of Snute versus TLO, I was like, wow, these are going to be long macro games. So let's go ahead and get into game number 3 as the GLHFs come out. A red Zerg player spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner of Abyssal Reef. It's Liquid's Snute.
And in the top left, his opponents. It's the blue Zerg, Lambo.
There he is. All right, so Lambo's got a lot to prove. I mean, I watched those first 2 games like everybody else did, and I mean, Snute just seems like he's got ZvZ figured out. He's like the macro version of No Regret. He wins every Zerg versus Zerg. He just only does so after 10 minutes.
Ooh, yeah. Now, like, Snute, I feel like, you know, I talked about this, like, in the very first game with Zeph. Like, I actually know quite a bit about Snute versus a lot of other Zergs, because he, you know, it's a European Zerg tournament. Like, that's what's gonna happen. Corsair Cup, whatever, IEMs, whatever. Like, that's what's gonna happen. A lot of ZvZs. But Lambo is kind of like, I don't know, he doesn't really play in a lot of our online cups, so I don't get to see him as often as Nurgio or Laser or Bly or just, like, so many other Zergs. So I wonder what was going to happen. Snute sometimes has struggles against those guys that is listed. You know, sometimes even, like, it seems like he's the one being hard countered. Well, it seems like, actually, Snute is hard countering Lambo. And I don't know if that's always what happens between the two. Would have no idea. But he just maybe is getting in the groove, feels pretty good. Everything's going aces for him. Every build order he does works out flawlessly. And now he's even going for a bit more of earlier aggression with this gas pool first. It's ghoul first.
The ghoul build. I like it, but only if you're undead. So for Zerg, I guess the Zerg are kind of like the undead of StarCraft 2. They have creep.
Yeah. I always imagine, right, because like you play Warcraft. Well, I played Warcraft 3 while knowing about StarCraft through like the N64 version, so I knew both. And I remember always comparing the two and being like, well, obviously humans are Terran, and I think Zerg is undead, but I don't know about like who's Protoss. I guess I thought orcs were more like Protoss.
Really, I would say night elves are like Protoss.
So it's weird
like,
because
orcs have.
Well, I feel like I'm gonna see your point in a second here. Mine was because I always felt like they have the beefier armies, right? Like, you just like got a couple of orcs, or you got a couple of zealots, and you just felt like a massive badass. But I don't know. In the way that they look, or I guess maybe it's different. Why did you think it was more like night elves?
I mean, night elves feel like the space age mysticism spellcasting race to me.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, I can see both, but we have something really sneaky going on here. Snute hides a portion of his lings and shows only this many. That still shows that it's fast speed though, with Lambo still 10 seconds to go. And Lambo also manages to find these sneaky banelings.
Oh my god, watching Snute control his lings in that little tiny altercation, it's just like, I mean, they used to call, when Jaedong would play Brood War, they used to call it JVZ instead of ZvZ, because he was just so good at it. Because of like little tiny micro decisions like that, where you can get 2 Zerglings attacking 1 Zergling. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it snowballs so fast. ZvZ is like a knife fight on rollerblades. It's just so incredibly finely balanced. And I mean, Jens just comes out and crushes it. So big fan of the way that Snute is playing this early on. He's doing sneaky things like hiding some of his lings earlier, but just the control in these engagements, so insane.
It is, but he is in a bit of trouble. I mean, so his opener didn't really work, as in it didn't do damage. But if he's able to get away with the droning, the massive amount of droning he did behind it, and the faster third base, then it did still work. So it's like kind of a time to tell thing, but Lambo is up in that army supply like a little bit. That's where Banelings just make it like, you know, not even important. But he is up a little bit, and he has a lot more lings, since Snute did just make another round of drones. So it's like a bit of a tough hold. I think Snute should have it, though.
Yeah, Evo Chamber on the way there for Snute as well. We're going to talk about that as our third bases come up for both players. Continuing just to see Zerglings run around, Banelings attempt to get in. Now there are a lot of Banelings coming in here for Lambo. He's going to get a few drone kills, but how did those Banelings get in there? That's a little bit of an oversight, but at least good connections do get 6 drones.
Yeah, that was quite nice, in fact. Like, these lings over here didn't do very much, but they did distract. So, well, that's not just drone kill. It's like a lot of time not mining for having all those splits, and it's really unfortunate because if Snute did have a little bit more creep spread, then he actually walls off, right? Like, you see that often enough on Abyssal Reef to wall off here, and those Banelings just would have felt completely useless. Not the case, though, and Sting had to remake those pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay, so remaking them, and in fact, Snute now up in the worker supply. 10 drones about to pop here for Lambo. So wow, he is really hitting his macro. As Roach Warren will come up, I always used to mispronounce like the name of the Zerg buildings. They'd be like Roach Dens and Ultralisk Hives. I'm like, okay, well, they're all just named things. We all know what they make. They're just named different stuff. So cool little like Banelings running into bases and trying to sneak their ways in. I feel like Lambo's trying to be a little bit too sneaky with how he gets his Banelings in, so nothing actually will connect inevitably. Whoa. And it feels like everything's pretty much evened out at this point.
So if you check Snute's vision, he just got a link to the main base, but not quite. I don't know if he popped by when the larva popped or as the lair began, but like something is just like spewing green liquid out of that hatchery, according to Snute's vision.
Ooh.
Alright, well, enough of that. He once again wants to get into that main base, finally does so, but the main's not where the tech is. There's an overlord here. Yeah, like every time he tries to go in the main base, he's missing sight on the lair. That's so weird. That's so funny.
I didn't realize that you could run by there and not see that. I guess the vision range of Zerglings just ain't what it used to be. Wow, okay. So yeah, we are going to be taking up to lair. I can't believe he just keeps getting denied so close to scouting that's on the way.
Right? Like, that was so close to seeing it. It is important, too, because, I mean, so he sees an invitation go down with his Overlord, so that is really good scouting and kind of makes up for that, I feel, because obviously he has a lair at that point, right? But it's also, like, if you couldn't scout that it wasn't a lair, and they saw, like, roaches start popping out, like, that, you know, maybe that's an all-in, you need to prepare. So it is important to scout. That's why he tried so hard. But there's other things he scouted to tell him what's up. So he did get a Spire. He's getting his upgrades. He's not so worried about being all in. And we do have 2 different tech paths leading into a macro game.
Yeah, I really love to see divergences like this because a lot of people maybe don't like watching mirror matches. It's like, well, it's just the same units all over the place. Well, very different play styles, very different players, and it's cool to see each of them have their own way of progressing through getting their advantages. So we've got a plus range upgrade on the way, as now Spire about to complete here for Snute. He is going to be going the Muta route. See if these infestors can make up for it for Lambo.
Lambo just got the scout on the Spire, too. He had no scouting in the main other than that. The Overseer swooped in, but it was still perfectly timed. Now, Snute noticed the Overseer noticing him, so maybe, I know, like, right, minds and mind games, but...
Mind games!
Like, I think that might have been why he didn't invest as much as he was going to in the Mutas. He was banking quite a lot, like, certainly enough for that decent number of, like, 6 or 7. But instead, he just, like, holds on a 400, 500 gas and just only makes, literally, like, 2 Mutas. Almost, it's like, you don't cancel the Spire, of course, but it's like, maybe you should have. 2 Mutas ain't much.
I mean, yeah, what did 2 Mutalisks do? I mean, They can't even get in and kill drones because there's spore crawlers in every mineral line. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That is going to be a challenge, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, they're not going to be very useful at all. I mean, I guess they can get rid of Overlords still, but I mean, Hydra's going to do that too. But what's more important is that since Lambo did respond to what he thought was a Mutalisk threat, like even still a small, like a medium one, right? 8 to 10 mutas. It's actually just, you know, going to be a bit faster on the max out of Roaches. So maxed out Roach Ravager can beat Roach Hydra, but I don't know. There's Fungals, there's Ravagers for Lambo too. I think Snute should lose this, but he is up a lot in upgrades, 2-1.
Yeah, the Fungals have been really good, so lots of Corrosive Biles landing here. I just feel like there's more Ravagers for Snute, though, and even though he does not have the Fungal, he's still landing all of these Corrosive Biles. A little bit lackluster splitting, and I mean, the reinforcement distance will eventually give Lambo the advantage here, but it's taken a while to push Snute out.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason he is surviving is the defender's advantage. I think otherwise Snute has kind of bullied past and starts to snowball. Snute is also maybe like a little... Okay, there. I think his like larva just popped. So, yeah, this huge bank. It took him a little while to use it, but as soon as he does, he is back up to being 30 supply up, still with that upgrade advantage. He got rid of the infestors. If he didn't get rid of them, he got rid of most of their fungals. This one might have one as time goes on, but Tunneling Claw is also finished. It's going to just shark on under here.
Yep. They're running right by a spore crawler, though, so they will be detected as they advance in. And then here comes the Overseer and all these newly skinned roaches, so they will be able to deal with this eventually. And also, because the Spire was started initially, there's spore crawlers in every mineral line, so I don't think burrowing past is going to be the answer here.
But getting...
Nice fungal there.
Yeah, that was a very nice fungal. That one infestor ended up being quite useful. But, you know, getting just any of the army pulled back when you have the army advantage, when you have the army that's just easier and cheaper to make, that's where it's still worth doing the Tunneling Claws. He gets the hatchery, he's gonna have +2 Carapace, and I actually still favor Snute's, you know, less techful, but faster making and more brute force army.
I love those 2 Mutalisks. If you go right to the middle of the map, there's 2 Mutalisks. They're just chilling there. They haven't moved the entire game. They got rallied there, hold position, and uncontrolled grouped. So they'll never move. They're just chilling there. It's like their map artifacts.
Yeah, they really aren't useful. Like, it's so funny, too, because even 5 mutas can threaten an infestor. Like, sniping an infestor, but 2 just really can't.
No, 2 mutas do nothing. 2 mutas is worse than no mutas, because you have to spend money on them.
Yeah. Well, Snute might be getting a little too fancy with his distraction tactics. You know, Lambo is only guarding 2 entryways now, so it's really not that difficult for him to split up. And both, you know, one's obviously a very, very tight choke. It's easy to defend. So Snute's going to pull back, give up on that idea, go for his own infestors. He still managed to get he still has a lead here. He has a very heavy lead in upgrades of +2 Carapace, and he has a much bigger bank with 5 bases. Not just 4, but 5 bases. He's absolutely in the lead, but he wasn't able to kill Lambo.
Yeah, I really feel like when you do try and fail to do things like that, it's about when you realize you need to pull back. And right now, even though Snute has massively better upgrades with that +2 Carapace, he still has to find a way to get in here. He's been able to cancel his hatch, so maybe inevitably the larva will be his advantage, but breaking this entrenched position is going to be a little bit difficult.
He's trying to do it again, but he's really... I mean, he started that fight like 40 supply down. The right side is getting on top of a lot of the Hydras and Ravagers, however, so target fire them even. Takes down a lot of the more expensive units.
And look at those fungals successively chained all over Snute's army, and that is going to put him down in a big way. He'll remax back at home, but he won't have that army to try to keep the pressure on Lambo.
Yeah. I mean, it's fights like those where you are close to throwing the game, because it's, you know, your larva injects are missed, or you just simply don't have as much of a bank as before, and suddenly your safe remax isn't so safe. Or your transition to Broodlords isn't as smooth, which I feel like he might be getting to. He already has a Spire after all, but we'll see. Getting +3 missile attack first.
You know, unfortunately, this is not Brood War. Otherwise, Snute could morph those 2 Mutalisks into Guardians. Instead,
they died.
you have...
Horrible death.
Oh, wow, another great fungal. Wow, these fungals have been so sick and keeping the infestors alive so they continue to get value after value. just fungals all over everything that Snoot's throwing into Lambo. The upgrades being what they will, they're just not enough.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still numbers, and now the fungals are mostly gone. I think there's one more in there. Nope, uses vegetarians instead. This might be the breaking point, just because Snute does have 26 more roaches on the way. Yeah, but it's not.
Yikes. Yeah, that is a lot of roaches, but I mean, +2 carapace inevitably is just going to win over. I mean, his units are just better. There's not a whole lot you can say about that. I mean, we're going to see the upgrades even up eventually, but I mean, +3 is going to complete way ahead here for Snute as he continues to push in. So, I don't know. Like you said, the roach numbers are just going to be overwhelming.
I mean, I would think so. But, you know, the important thing is, too, is that Lambo has been saving these 5 infestors, I think, like, twice now. Like, they've been in a lot of battles. So they always regain that energy, but they're still, like, 10, 20 seconds away from a fungal, and they did need to be used in this battle. Infestitarians, once again, being their energy use. Unfortunately, that's not going to be quite enough as the army supply is really dipping down for Lambo.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a GG. Snute takes him out and is just stomping through these grand finals.
Yeah. Snute just has Lambo's number. I think someone in chat also mentioned that just historically it's been in Snute's favor. So, I think, see why.
Yeah, in between, I guess we are going to take a break in between games, right? Is that the way we do it, or is it every 2 games?
It's usually every 2 games, yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm learning how to do things here. I'm learning how to join lobbies on time, learning how to, when we take breaks. It's a learning experience for me.
Yeah, of course. Or if there's like a really super long game. Or if we need a break. You know, it's flexible. The secrets of broadcasting are not that impressive.
Shh, there's secrets no one will ever know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's the last potential map, I hope it's not, but it could be, is going to be Sequencer. Already on a game 4, and I mean, credit to Lambo, he's like mixing things up. It's not that he's just like obviously a one-trick pony and Snute has him locked down, but it's just that Snute does seem to play a smoother macro game. Even when he opens up and doesn't quite work, he still manages to barely defend and get 70 drones, and it still works out on his end.
Yeah, I really feel like when you go into macro games versus Snute, you have to have something else up your sleeve. It feels like the later the game goes, the better it gets for Snute. Now, I will say in some of his games versus TLO's ability to multitask and sort of send little tiny attacks to elsewhere around the map while big engagements were happening in the middle was pretty sick and really kind of overtaxed Snute's focus in the macro games. So maybe if that's something Lambo can do, then he'll have an advantage there, but it doesn't seem like that's the kind of style he's trying to play.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to the Ling Wars in that game right there, that Baneling run by with all the other Lings did almost catch Snute off guard, but once it gets to Roaches, it feels like he kind of goes back into his shell, or simply just has an unfortunate build order, like on Proxima. I want to give a quick shout out before we get into the game to McPolo Frito for the Twitch Prime sub, new sub there. That's the only one I've missed, so thank you very much. But it's potentially the last game in this best of 7. In the top right, he is up 3-0. It's Snute.
Yeah, he's been looking pretty good, but he'll have to win at least one more game. Actually, no, exactly one more game against his opponent. That is our Blue Zerg player, Lambo.
He'll have to play at least one more game.
Yes,
there you go.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
I got it eventually. All right, so we're spawning on Sequencer, a very big map. It's kind of deceptively big. I did not realize it because I had it vetoed when I first started playing. But since I've been seeing it more in online cups, it is just so big. Every time I automatically expand to one of these little nodules in the middle of the map and it doesn't have a mineral patch, I'm kind of unfortunately surprised. But yeah, the 4 in the middle don't. Everywhere else pretty much just has a base. You can get bases all over the place, so should be a very long macro game, which might play into Snute's favor.
Right, I think it would if it becomes down to a macro game. Lambo has tried to play an earlier aggressive game, at least somewhat. He's tried to do surprise builds with that 1-1 on Proxima, but it's just not beating out Snute's solidness and dependability, which are definitely words I would use for Snute as also a macro king. sometimes I feel like he is just caught by a player that knows him very well, so he's not as like solid as I would say like maybe Showtime can feel, especially in these huge tournaments like WCS. In fact, that coming up in like a week. I believe all of these guys are playing in. I'm shocked if they weren't.
Yeah, basically every player in the world is playing in WCS. Was it Valencia? So yeah, there's going to be quite a bit of StarCraft between many of the best players in the world. So get a chance to see these guys a little bit ahead of time. And because this is a larger map, we probably won't see too much of a focus on early Zergling shenanigans. Obviously, you want a few out on the map just for both scouting and to see if there is an opportunity to catch your opponent off guard. But I wouldn't even be surprised if we see 3 hatches without hardly any Zerglings being made. And in fact, that's exactly what Snute is doing. 3 hatches up, and I think he only has 6 Zerglings now.
Yeah. This is a little bit worrying for me. Since Snute did this on this map, I think twice against his Zerg opponents, and both those times they were kind of responding the same way. I think it was twice against TLO actually. So, anyways, but like they responded the exact same way, and so it was just more of a macro versus a macro game. You get to the same point, and then it's about who takes better fights, which ended up being Snute, but still. But instead, Lambo goes for more of a normal opener. That kind of middle of the road hatch first, but still I get the gas and I still get the speedlings later third base. And if he's not aggressive with it, if he doesn't stop Snute from just droning, then it's just a big waste for him. Like eventually he's gonna get to roaches and he's just gonna be behind economically. But that's where hopefully the power of speedlings will shine.
Hopefully. I mean, everything in ZvZ, at least early game, kind of has a timer on it. You build Zerglings, they have a timer until Banelings come out, and then there's a timer until Roaches, and then Mutalisks, and then Hydras, and then you get Hive Tech, and everything kind of goes out the window from there on out. So really cool to see what the logic is for these guys as they try to switch between all of that and see when its time is up. So one thing that Lambo is going to do is he did commit to a little bit more of a speedling force here, is break down these rocks going into Snute's third. However, Snute will scout that one out and have the queens running back and forth to block wherever these Zerglings try to get in.
That
Whoa! All right, so this is exactly what can happen if you do commit to the Zerglings and you're able to get into a good spot. They run by the queen after taking it out and really kind of stressing Snute here.
Okay, you did get 1 drone. Okay, but that's still kind of impressive. Like, I was watching the micro go down.
But no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and immediately, as soon as these Zerglings are pushed out, we go up to lair.
Yeah, Snute just... Well, his overlords... No, not really. No, I don't... So, Snute sometimes has been broken by, like, confident play. But in this case, it was absolutely correct. He just kind of calmly let his queens move back. If Lambo had 20, 30 more lings on the way... I'm not sure those are scouted. There's like an overload over here, but not anywhere else. So he took a bit of a gamble with that, but it worked out fine. He just droned through it too, only got like a handful of roaches. Like, Snute's still in a very good position, takes a really quick 4th base. Yeah, that was nicely done.
All right, so I was predicting the ways that this matchup could go on Illegal Act in the middle while we wait for both of our players to tech up. We've got a little bit of downtime here. So I just thought it was interesting that the most likely outcome for this best of 7 was a 4-2 in Snute's favor. However, the second least likely outcome is a 4-0. So it just goes to show that statistics are not everything, but it at least is interesting to see that their lifetime record against each other is 8-5 in Snute's favor. So by no means one-sided.
Oh, okay.
Even though this best of 7 kind of looks that way.
Sure. Yeah. Bad days, online, like it just... There are so many tournaments that the more I look at these stats, they'd really have to be quite astounding for me to take them to heart, Like, it'd have to be, like, literally 10-0, and then I'm like, okay, maybe this guy's just, like, better than the other guy. But we do have starting to get those roach swells in, as they've both gotten just about as many drones as they would want. Lambo actually was a little bit, I think, greedier on the backs of everything. Just, got, like, 15 drones at once and kind of went up to 66. Now Snute catching up, but Snute had the income advantage as the game was in its infancy, and that has still swelled to a larger roach force with equally timed, or might as well be equally timed +1, and faster roach speed, which is why he's already moving out here.
Oh boy, yeah. After losing all of those speedlings early on to try to break into Snoot's base, Lambo was sitting on single-digit army supply for a while, and only now just getting up to his Roach Ravager count as Snute tries to push in. He will have a nice concave at the bottom of this ramp, though, so this actually could be a great fight for Lambo to pick.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to go that badly. Snute was at an okay army supply as he moved across the map, but it evened up once he actually took the fight, and then... well, it just went down as he went down that ramp, so forced to pull back. He does have Tunneling Claws on the way. Lambo this time, though, is in the position that Snute was last game, which is the much faster upgrades.
Yeah, I really feel like upgrades make a huge difference, especially in ZvZ, because you're just going to get a ton of one kind of unit. Like, if you have 10 less roaches than your opponent, you might as well have no roaches, because you're just going to lose the fight eventually. However, if you do have that upgrade advantage, that really matters a lot, because, I mean, if you're only down like 5 roaches in a roach-on-roach battle, but you're up an upgrade, you just win massively. So, yeah, it really does make a big difference here, and we will see that kick in just a second for Lambo. But look at that concave. There's just so much more, though, for Lambo.
Yeah. Well, Snute really hadn't used his bank at that exact point. Plus, he was the one that was a little bit farther away from his bases. So now that he's used it, it looks a bit better. But even then, still down 30 army supply. He has Tunneling Claws.
Now here are the burrowed roaches. Yeah.
Yeah, the Overseer is way too far away.
Kicking in. I love how he's not committing to like a big roach run by, because you always have to make sure you don't just die. But yeah, just sending a tiny little roach hit force across the hit squad task force. I don't know what I'm going for there. They're sneaky, and they're going all the way into the main.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool. So Snute just thinks he's going to lose the Roach Warren. That's obviously going to be targeted first, although the Evolution Chamber also would have been fine. In fact, since it wasn't targeted first, it's going to finish +2. Very important here as the battle goes, as Lambo is already on 2-1. But will it matter? Snute is just down in supply.
Yeah, he's going to lose everything here. I mean, he does have better concave, so his positioning is not the downfall. There's just too much in one spot there. Lambo smashing through and now getting into the natural.
Snute has such a big bank. His economy was so good, but even though he thought the Roach Warren was going to go down, it was still late by like 10 seconds. Maybe he still gets snowballed anyways, but you can see 20 roaches now on the way after he's already been broken.
And this is just over. There's no way that Snute can come back from this, because he's had his supply chains cut off. So many of these hatcheries will just never be able to get their units to a good spot. Everything here in the main is going to die, and that includes the lair.
Yeah. It's absolutely game, but I think it's just that Snute, you don't ever feel good losing a game when you have 2,000 minerals in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there you go. GG. It's not a 4-0 after all.
All right. So yeah, it was looking a little bit that way when I came in here after Zeph and you cast the first two. I was like, whoa. Well, this is a little dangerous, but it appears as if the arc of the universe does in fact bend towards not 4-0s in best of 7s. So I think we can all be happy about that.
I'm pretty happy. I liked that. So Lambo finally got like his aggression working, which I think was the most important part. Like he was equally pushing Snute as Snute pushed him. So even though Snute was getting into that position, like an Abyssal where he had a huge bank and he could probably throw away roach armies, it wasn't quite kicking in. He was being pushed and pulled too much before that. So much more impressed by that game, and that means we're gonna go into a game 5, and it also means a quick 2-minute break. Thanks for watching. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for watching those ads. Snute has to be right back. But we are going to be getting into Odyssey. Very standard map.
Yes. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I was multitasking here a little bit. Much like our players. Really impressed by Lambo there. Felt like Snute had a little bit of an edge there as he was pushing out across the map, but Lambo had a great defense, squashed Snute's army, and then pushed across the map with a superior Roach Ravager force. So here we go into our 5th game of our best of 7. So kind of going the distance here. I was a little bit worried about the 4-0, but be exciting to see if Lambo can start to build some momentum off of that win.
Hopefully he can. it is still a long road to come back in a best of 7 when you're down 3-1. And he has to face this guy in the top left. The red Zerg. It is Liquid Snute.
All right, yeah, pretty good. So far, his opponent down in the bottom right-hand corner of Odyssey is our blue Zerg player, Lambo.
Odyssey.
Odyssey. Yep. Well, we used to have, I think I was talking with Brendan maybe about this. We used to have 3 different kinds of maps. There was LE for Ladder Edition, then there was TE for Tournament Edition, then there was SE for Special Edition on maps that were made for special occasions, like online tournaments or special offline events. So
we definitely talked about that on Odyssey in the tournament that we cast together.
Oh, maybe that was you. I don't know. It's all blending together. All you casters are exactly the same.
We really are. I mean, it doesn't matter, gender or anything. It's just like, all blends together. No, I don't really blame you, to be honest. Like, it happens all the time.
That's just the wonder of esports.
Yeah. I think it happens to everyone. I've heard plenty of people just be like, yeah, I was casting with, or yeah, I was casting blank person. It's just like, no.
Then you find out there was solo casting and there was no other co-caster. It gets really weird.
Something like that, right? Yeah, absolutely. What we have here from Snute, though, he tried this once. It didn't really work as it was. It's hard to say intended because there's so many ways that ZvZ can work, but as far as being aggressive with an earlier pool, that's not the part that really worked for Snute. But he managed to still find benefits off his aggression by taking the drones and taking the third base. We saw that on Abyssal, I think it was. Yeah, it was Abyssal 2 games ago. And it seems like he likes that build. It's not so much about doing immediate damage, although it's great if you can just get the win easy peasy. It's also just about having, the faster control of the game. You kind of set the pace.
Yeah, I felt like Snute had faster control of the game in game 2. He did take that little speedling run by hit, but at that point he was up in army supply, so he's like, all right, I'll get my faster roach speed, faster swell of roaches, shove them across the map. But no, Lambo is right there to defend. So you're gonna have to play it, maybe take a break, relax, and get back to his previous macro style. But it should be noted that the maps are vastly different here. So it's perhaps just a facet of Sequencer being such a big map. And now we're back on Odyssey, which is much smaller and does have more vulnerable expansion bases. So it's not like you're just going to be able to go for that fast 3 hatch like you did in game 4.
There are so many cool things about this game right off the bat, by the way, as you watch Snute build up that Ling army, move across the map now. Lambo intentionally looked for hidden Lings with 3 of his own Lings and barely didn't see. The timing was just the tiniest bit off for these 2. He didn't have an overload over here either. And while he thinks he knows there's an attack on the way, it really helps to cancel those first 2 initial Banelings. So he just has to kind of hold up on the main, try and buy time. He should absolutely save this hatch.
Wait, what? What happened to those Banelings?
They were using the larva. I'm not sure it should have been.
No. Okay. I mean, if that's the way you want to go, great. But I feel like you really want to do that right as the inject pops. Otherwise, I don't know if the value is quite there. But that's going to be 2 less Lings surrounded on the Queen, but the Banelings come out to protect it. Still maybe a little bit vulnerable. But Snoot's really committing to this, although it feels now that maybe the time has passed.
I think it has. I think just like controlling the space around Lambo is something he's just got to do for a little while longer. Last time he had the situation where it was just Lambo was able to defend, Snute got a third base and a lot of drones. This time he fits in a couple of drones, but much faster to a Roach Warren. Lambo, by the way, was severely supply blocked for a little while there, which I think kind of hurt, to be honest, but he's fixed it now.
Yeah, he has got a swell of a few overlords there. Several Lings coming out. It's now the Roach Warren on the way. I think Lambo now switching into a little bit more of an army production as he gets both of these gases up at his natural. Third base is being thrown down at the same time for both players, though. It looks like Lambo has finally secured himself a presence on his side of the map. So I'd like to see both these players going to back off and move up to their next tech path, but still Snute keeping at least tabs on Lambo's army.
Snute is getting a lair and +1. Lambo so far not so much. Okay, there we go. There's always that little period of time where you're like, well, they could go for an all-in, skip the roach speed and the +1, put it all in a roach, and they can sometimes barely work, but no, his is just delayed, which is a little unfortunate. They find themselves even on most other regards, army, drones, third base timings, but +1 a lot faster, and roach speed a lot faster for Snute too. I want to give a quick shout out to the new sub that we got, by the way, Chimerical X. Like almost like Chemical X, but not quite, for the new Twitch Prime sub, and Frankenfurter for the 18-month resub.
Frankenfurter. Big fan of, I guess, Lambo in that regard, but Snute, though, I don't know, they have those there, I guess.
Sure.
Baneling's running in to try to keep these Zerglings from getting any more drone kills. They do pick up one, but that's about it at the third. So good defense there by Snute as he resaturates, or fully saturates that base almost. Snute actually pulling back to his side of the map, kind of interestingly, not feeling like he can really put the pain on Lambo.
I think he's right about that. This isn't the timing that he wants. In fact, it's the timing that Lambo would really want. You know, quadruple the army supply right now. Dang. Yeah, no, not so much. But that's only a temporary supply difference right now. If Snute just keeps at it, I guess he would lose, but no, that shouldn't be the case. He has +1 finishing up, he has roach speed. It looks like Lambo was in fact a little indecisive of what he wanted to do. He might have realized how quickly or how far behind he was because he got the +1, but then decided not to. He got the lair, but isn't investing into roach speed. Like, it's kind of questionable right now, and this, I gotta say, is usually a build that is very much so about skipping 3 very important things very quickly. And, like, that's barely enough to edge you over Defender's advantage, so the inconsistencies are, like, a little worrying, but he does still have that army supply.
Yeah, I mean, the army supply, I think, was really big, but maybe now it'll be more about the economy and remaxing. There's this Defender's advantage for Snute, but he does have a smaller overall force. More reinforcements streaming across the map here. It's going to be the Zerg Parade push. It feels like Lambo just smashing through Snute's natural.
Yeah, Snute has drones to lose. In fact, he could lose more even than, you know, evening numbers because he already has a 4th base at the gold. And I think that drone pool is absolutely called for. All I need to do is buy a couple of roaches to protect his Ravagers, which managed to survive despite Lambo trying to target fire. And I think Lambo just is dead. There you go. GG.
Wow. So not quite the 4-2 that was predicted, but in the end, Snute survives. And I love how varied this series was. Our first 2 games were very, were very quick. But after that, you got to see the full gamut of long macro games, really aggressive, good defense by Lambo in the previous game, good defense this game by Snute. Now will allow him to turn things around and pick up a win in the 5th series to make him the winner of our EU versus NA snow match. Congratulations to Liquid Snute, who will now go up even further to be the highest earning foreign player in StarCraft.
There you go. Spending all that time on a Ligulac. Should know that.
No, I was just using that as a way to segue into the Snute's esports earnings, because the esports earnings Casters Invitational is going to be coming up a little bit later on too. So it's been cool to keep a track on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm you know, spoiler alert, I'm not in anymore, but that's cool. That's fine.
It's okay. Your legacy lives on.
I forgot that my...
In the form of your t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly, right. I forgot that my camera right now is labeled cat cam, because that's just like what Obs chose to have the camera work as. Like, not the one that didn't say cat cam, the one that said cat cam, so thanks a lot for that, Obs. But, alright, I fixed the overlay. But nice, yeah, so that will be coming up later, actually. I think around the time that we start casting the Corsair Cup, so I might not even see the ending of all that, but it was a fun little thing. I'm glad I participated overall.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to meme on Twitter about everybody else participating.
There you go. Exactly.
But just to close things out here, cool show match. Unfortunately, North America kind of got bopped on day 1, so did not get a chance to cast any of those representatives. Neeb, of course, over here in Korea, practicing and playing, did not, come out.
No, he didn't.
Or did not Yeah, so
participate.
unfortunately, a little bit maybe misrepresented there on either side, but you got to give congratulations to Snute. Definitely deserved the win.
Yes, very good 4-1, very convincing. ZvZ just in general today also facing TLO, and he will win the grand prize, I believe $400. So that's awesome. Thank you very much to Ronin Dude for the 24-month resub, 2 years. Wowza. It's been a long time. BaseTradeTV is almost, well, the sub button specifically, I guess, because it's a little bit older than the sub button, is almost 4 years old. 46 months.
Wow.
I know. That's impressive stuff.
It's almost able to vote.
What?
Not really.
I was like, not even close. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and BaseTradeTV will be back in about 4 hours, 3.5 hours, I think. It's going to be me and Rifkin casting as usual. The Corsair Cup back to its open group formats, or open bracket format rather. So tell your favorite European players to come out and play, because we're a little hesitant to believe that it's really the way to make it work. Thank you so much to Zeph, who already left, but she can, I think her Twitter is at ZephSC2 for casting, as well as Rapid Casting, who's still here. I'll let you do your own shout outs now. There you go.
Yeah, I guess you can follow me on Twitter at RapidCasting, on twitch.tv/RapidCasting. I'll be streaming a little bit later on this week. And I think the thing I'm working primarily on is SSL. That'll be coming up again tomorrow. So you don't want to miss SSL premiere there. And then Zombie Grub and I will be back in just about a day to cast the Ballistics Brawl. So I get a chance to see week 2 of that tournament. It has just like the sickest lineup of Korean players. So really excited for week number 2.
Yeah, it's a Korean tournament, so always love to cast Korean tournaments. But that's like in a day and a half, yeah, Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
For us. That just about does it, guys. Make sure to follow the channel down below. We want to boost that number. I think we recently reached a milestone, but always wanting to boost that. You can also follow the YouTube for BaseTradeTV, where the VODs will be at youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. You can follow me on Twitter at ZGGaming, on Twitch at ZombieGrub, and YouTube ZombieGrub. Unfortunately, not getting my own stuff done because we are just casting so damn much. Plenty of double days, and just sleep schedule so messed up, and it's a lot of work, but it's something to complain about, right? And then I think that just about covers it. Thank you so much everyone who subbed and donated some bits today. And don't forget, guys, that for the Corsair Cup, it's not just good old-fashioned BaseTradeTV cast, but it's Rifkin's birthday. So make sure to come with lots of bits and subs in tow. And I don't know if he plans on drinking. He did have rum earlier today, and apparently it might have been taken without his knowledge. I don't know. But if he's drinking, then I'd certainly be willing to drink. I still got leftover soju. I don't know. It might be a good time. It might just be a nice, fun, chill birthday. But I hope you guys come back for it in, again, roughly 3.5 hours. So, all right.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. It was a cool show match, so it was good to have you on board. And, of course, thanks to BaseTradeTV for having myself and Zeph and even Rifkin for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. On his own channel. That makes sense. But all right, guys. Going to end with some ads and then host someone. So thanks for watching. See you later.